Thanks, Akash. In fact, some international news now. There's been another blast in Kabul. Reports suggesting that a suicide car bomb blast has taken place at the entrance to the Kabul International Airport. That's the Hamid Karzai Airport. You're seeing, in fact, pictures of the road that leads up to there with the security force vehicle and ambulance which are leaving. There's considerable damage and casualties that are expected. You can see several vehicles that have been damaged, and initial reports are suggesting that it was a suicide car bomb blast. Officials are still at the site. There are reports of explosions and ambulances rushing in and out with those who have been injured. This, in fact, follows several developments, including what's been called the bloodiest day in Kabul, in Afghanistan's history, since casualties were started to be recorded in 2009 by the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, that's UNAMA. Since Thursday, there were 3 attacks that killed over 50 people and injured over 300. Now, the spurt in attacks and the spurt in intensity of attacks follows the transition of power from Mullah Umar, the Emir al-Mu'minin, who's the self-proclaimed head of the Afghan Taliban, after the Afghan Taliban, in fact, announced that he had died in 2013 and announced a new head had taken over. Since then, there has been a spurt in attacks, and in fact, the intensity of attacks and the number of casualties that have people who have died and injured there. What we're hearing now is that there are considerable amount of casualties that are feared in this attack. This is thought to be a Toyota Corolla car, the suicide bomber who exploded his vehicle at the first checkpoint to the Kabul International Airport. This is the road that leads up to there, and you can see smoke in the distance. There's several checkpoints, and in fact, passengers get off at the first checkpoint, and they are checked there, and all their baggage is put through X-ray machines at that checkpoint before they go through 2 other checkpoints and get to the airport. There are some reports suggesting that the target could have been a convoy of officials, but from those pictures you can see there's been considerable damage, a large explosion hitting the entrance to the Kabul airport, and several casualties, a considerable amount of casualties are feared. That's according to the police. We also believe that the attacker was in a white Toyota Corolla car, and he exploded it either at the entrance or the first checkpoint to the Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul, or he was targeting a convoy of government officials. Now, still waiting for confirmation on that, because the administration and officials, you can see firefighters there, special force members, as well as police who are dealing with the situation. So information is difficult to come by, but what we are hearing is that it was a suicide car bomb blast outside the first checkpoint to the Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul, and that follows, in fact, several attacks that took place since Thursday in what the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, UNAMA, says was the deadliest day in Afghanistan's history in terms of since they started recording figures of casualties. So they started doing that in 2009, and since Thursday, in 3 separate incidents, over 50 people were in fact killed and over 300 people injured. These attacks, or the spurt in intensity of those attacks, have gone up since there's been a transition in the Afghan Taliban leadership. A week back, it was finally announced and officially confirmed that Mullah Umar, the self-styled Supreme Emir, as the Afghan Taliban called him, or the Supreme Commander, had died 2 years ago. The Afghan intelligence also confirming that he had died in a Karachi hospital, though Pakistan denied that. Subsequent to that, there was a power transition of sorts in which a shura, or a council, decided that Akhtar Muhammad Mansoor, who was the deputy head of the Taliban, would take over from Mullah Umar. Once that was announced, there were also a lot of dissidents among other Taliban groups, including Mullah Umar's son, who refused to accept Mullah Mansoor as the head. Peace talks that were being held within one group of leaders and the Afghan leadership in Pakistan. A second round was postponed soon after that, and since then we've seen a considerable spurt in violence, not only in the number of attacks but in the number of people who have been killed or injured. Since last Thursday, almost 60 people have been killed in separate attacks and over 300 others injured. But today's attack is right in front of the first checkpoint to the Kabul International Airport, but details are still in fact sketchy in terms of the number of people who have been killed, but officials initially saying that they do fear a considerable amount of casualties in this attack, which is, again, according to initial reports, is a car suicide bomb at the first checkpoint, a first of several checkpoints that lead to the Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul. The damage you can see is considerable, with several vehicles as well damaged. Seeing firefighters and other police officials who are in the area trying to clear the damage. We do believe that ambulances have been in and out of the area taking people who were injured to hospitals. So, these pictures you're seeing of the aftermath of another attack in the Afghan capital in Kabul. This is a car bomb attack that is thought to have taken place at the first checkpoint of the Hamid Karzai International Airport, and police sources are telling NDTV that a considerable amount of casualties are expected. We'll get you more on that and the day's other top stories.